Which is better for gravel riding, a road shoe and pedal system or a mountain shoe and pedal system? A lot of riders go for a mountain shoe because they're easier to walk in, easy to get in and out, and it doesn't matter if you're stepping in mud or not. Some racers we see going with a road shoe because it's lighter and stiffer. They may be more comfortable in it, and there's the perception that this may be a more efficient shoe. And of course, now we have gravel shoes, which are a Goldilocks of sorts, which have a lug sole and a lighter weight than a mountain bike shoe. In this video, I talked to a number of the top riders on the start line at Big Sugar Gravel about which system they prefer and why, including race winner Torbjørn Røed. I talked to Jim Miller, USA Cycling's Chief of Sports Performance and longtime personal coach to Keegan Swenson, who has been winning just about every gravel race he shows up to, and often in lightweight road shoes. Also, I share the thoughts of Andy Lull, the man who invented the Stages power meter and who thinks a lot about power efficiencies. And then lastly, I'll give you my take based on the experience of riding all sorts of different systems at all sorts of different events around the United States and elsewhere. First, take a second to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and then sit back and enjoy the ride on road shoes and mountain bike shoes and gravel shoes. Big Sugar Gravel was the closer of the Lifetime Grand Prix, North America's preeminent off-road series. Here's what some riders had to say on the start line about which system they prefer and why. Road pedals or mountain bike pedals?
Road pedals.
Why?
Because it's what I've been running and it's what I feel comfortable on right now, and I like the contact better.
Road pedals or mountain bike pedals?
I'm on road pedals, so hopefully I ride the mud section this time.
Good luck, have fun up there.
Yeah, thanks.
Road pedals, mountain bike pedals?
Mountain bike pedals.
Why?
Because that's all I know.
Road pedals, mountain bike pedals?
Road.
Why?
I'm not going to get off my bike and it feels a little steadier.
Road pedals, mountain bike pedals?
I got mountain bike pedals because that's the shoes that fit my foot the best.
All right, have fun out there.
Thanks.
That's pretty representative of what I have seen over the years at start lines at various races. There's a mix of mountain and road, and that's more so at the front of the event where the racers are thinking about the tiniest gains, where you see a mix of mountain and road. More towards the middle and the back of the fields, there's a whole lot more mountain bike pedals. Sometimes in that mix of performance-minded riders at the front, it's roadies sticking with road shoes and mountain bikers sticking with mountain bike shoes. That's not always the case though. We see highly successful mountain bikers like Pace and McElveen going not on mountain but on a road setup. Also the same for a certain Keegan Swenson. At USA Cycling, Jim Miller's job for years has been to find performance gains in both athletes and equipment. So I figured he'd be a great person to talk to about this subject. So Jim Miller, there's a lot of common wisdom in cycling, and some of it is based on science and studies we can point to, and a lot of it's just based on gut feeling and things we've been telling ourselves for a number of years, whether that's, what part of the bread you should eat when you're on a European road team. You don't eat the insides, you only eat the crust, or what type of gear we should use. And the pedal choice, road pedals versus mountain bike pedals for gravel racing, has been one of those things where some of the assumptions, at least at the high level, is like, well, if you want the best power transfer, you're going to use road pedal. I was asked this recently, can you prove that? And I just could not. And so I thought I would go straight to the tippity top Chief of Sports Performance at USA Cycling, ask this question: is there a way to measure power efficiency in a road system versus a mountain bike system?
There probably is. And it's probably been done. I know of a study to maybe change the question here a little bit. There's also the idea is the weight of the shoe more important of a road pedal or a mountain bike pedal, right? Is the mountain bike shoe is going to be heavier, road shoe is going to be lighter. And
aerodynamics could even figure into that a bit also, if you want to get into the minute changes.
And I think that's the real question. I think both mountain bike shoes and road shoes probably are built on the same platform, then they just have a different upper, right? I don't think that Specialized or any of the top shoe manufacturers are probably changing the top level racing shoe on mountain bike or road from that base platform of carbon sole. So that should be the same. aerodynamics is definitely going to be different, and weight you think would be different. Years ago on the track, we were trying to go to a really, really light shoe, thinking that if your average cadence is 120, 130 in a team pursuit or individual pursuit, sprint event is going to be huge cadence. Would a lighter shoe rotate faster? Would you get more power from it? And uniquely enough, Specialized had built that really, really light shoe, and they had done a lot of testing with it and found no difference in power output versus the normal road shoe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that probably the normal road shoe versus the mountain bike shoe, the weight of it isn't as significant as we would like to think it might be or is. I do think the aerodynamics is really significant, and if you have to get off your bike, then it is really significant.
Sure. Yeah, that's what a lot of it comes down to, is like the walkability. How does it feel to walk on the shoes or trudge through the mud and unbound in the shoes versus how does it feel to be clipped in and pedaling? But the pedal platform is another thing when I think about power efficiency. Like if you've got slop anywhere in the system, whether that's like a dirty chain or like a really floppy frame, that can compromise, small differences, but that can compromise your power efficiency. And if you've got like worn out mountain bike cleats that are wobbling around, I think some people, including myself, can get in your head like, well, watts are being wasted and getting washed out. Do you think there's anything to that at all? If like the sole's the same stiffness and the rest of the bike's the same, like, is anything really being lost there, or is that just a psychological thing?
I'm going to guess it's psychological, but if you are losing it, it's going to be just such a small fraction of the number that for the most people, probably you're not even worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you get to the point of racing where you're thinking about drivetrain efficiency, chain efficiency, rolling resistance, aerodynamics of a tire versus loss in rolling resistance, things like that, then yeah, you can't tolerate any loss of power. But I would say for most people that if you're losing a watt or 2 watts, it doesn't change your outcome whatsoever.
Sure. Yeah, I just like having a firmer sole to be standing around drinking a beer afterwards, and that feels better in mountain bike shoes than road shoes. But
yeah, and if you coach a junior team, the first thing you always tell them is change your cleats. Tighten your cleats, change your cleats. Stop bringing these worn out cleats to the race.
So whichever system they're running, whether that's road or just fresh equipment, make sure it's decently maintained.
Yep. Yeah. Change your chain. Chains don't last forever.
Keegan Swinson, who you've been coaching for years, typically runs road pedals, yes?
Yep, a lot of times,
when he's doing gravel events, I should specify, yeah. But not every time. Is this something that you guys talk about going into event, or is that more his decision as to what he thinks makes sense on the day?
Most of the time his, but a lot of it is the event itself. We do have a ton of discussion, and he's really got himself has got into chasing the 1%ers. He wasn't that way initially, but I think as you get better, you start looking at ways to even get better and better and better. So I think a lot of times if he doesn't feel like he's going to have to get off the bike, then I do think that the rolling resistance, the aerodynamics of it is significant. And in a moving bicycle, your feet are the dirtiest air. That's the dirtiest air in a wind tunnel. So anytime you can clean that up, you're better to do so.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why he's wearing not only road shoes, but often the lace road shoes with a, not like a full shoe cover, but like a strap over the laces to keep it flush and flat.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember Taylor Finney, like an early user of Giro's lace-up shoes, was saying like that's why he went with those, not because it's like hipster cool to have laces, but by reducing like big buckles sticking out, just tightening up the whole package was the reason behind that.
Laces are flat, and you can lay them flat, and the top of the shoe is really cleaned up.
Yeah. So, and at those speeds, these tiny details start to matter. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I think I'll still be sticking with mountain bike shoes myself for the Bow Stripe beer. Thanks for your insight, sir. Good to see you. Good to chat with you.
Yep. Thanks.
Andy Lowe, the engineer who created the Stages meter and who worked with Chris Froome during his many Tour de France wins, echoed what Jim had to say, that the weight and aerodynamic benefits of a road shoe could be small, but measurable. So let's look at the weight. Shimano S-Fire mountain bike shoe, size 45 with the cleat on, weighs 407 grams. You add in the pedal, that comes out to a 576 gram system. Shimano S-Fire road shoe, again with the cleat on, 307 grams. Add in a pedal, 123 grams for Ultegra, that's 430 grams. Then you go with the Goldilocks, right? The gravel shoe, the RX8. That guy's 335 grams. You add in a 169 gram pedal. That's an XT pedal. Just trying to keep it as apples to apples as possible with the second tier Ultegra, second tier XT. You know, that comes out to a 504 gram system for each side. Similar story with specialized shoes like this Recon Vent with a cleat, 373. Add in that 169 gram XT pedal, that's a 542 gram system. S-Works road shoe with a cleat, 298. Mix in a pedal, 422. Yeah, of course, there are lighter overall options, right? Like, you know, Keegan's favorite Giro shoes with straight laces. This is the version that's got Velcro straps, but still with a cleat, crazy light, 237 grams. And you can go heavier for mountain bike shoes, like a Giro Empire, size 45 with a cleat, 417 grams. So certainly measurable differences on a scale, but are they measurable differences in the real world? If such a study has been done, we do not yet know of this. If you know of one, by all means, point it out to me. Stiffness is another factor, not just for performance and speed, but for comfort, right? Like if you like a shoe that's got a bit of flex in it, this cross-country racing shoe does not have much, but some gravel shoes do have some flex. If that's what you like, by all means, that's a good thing. But as far as a performance measurement, if you had a very stiff mountain or gravel sole and a very stiff road shoe, could you measure that difference in terms of the pedal efficiency? I put this question to Andy. He said you could try to measure this with a metabolic cart where someone's hooked up to the breathing apparatus in a lab setting, and the only variable you change is the shoe cleat pedal combo. Use a power meter and try to tease out differences, but his quote was, comparing this to studies done with different crank lengths using that same metabolic cart measurement, my expectation would be this difference would be very difficult to measure. So for most of us, trying to tease out these tiny performance benefits in a pedal cleat shoe system is getting pretty far into the weeds. And my basic take is that you should go with what is comfortable for you. Like if a road shoe setup works for you, including walking around in the dirt and the mud, knock yourself out. If a mountain bike or a gravel specific shoe is better, that's really what matters at the end of the day. For me, having done dozens of gravel events, I gravitate to either a mountain shoe or the gravel shoe. I've tried road shoes a few times and it's fine, but for me, it's like a practical consideration thing. I like hanging out a bit before and after the event. Sometimes I'm scrambling around on hillsides trying to take photos or whatever. Stepping in mud with a road shoe, especially like a lace shoe, the practical considerations of just cleaning the mud out of the laces, I don't want to be bothered with it. Really, what it comes down to is like the man Torbjørn said at the start of Big Sugar Gravel. If the shoe fits, wear it. Which style do you prefer and why? Let me know in the comments below. And whether you like the road or the mountain or the gravel shoe, enjoy the ride. We having fun yet, Norm? Good, appreciate that.
Yep, that's the long and the short of it.